Okay, why don't you start by giving us your thoughts on the game last week?
Well, I thought it's always great to start off with a win. I don't think that we probably functioned at our highest level, obviously, but by times we forget that it is week one, and nor should we be functioning at our highest level either. The good news is that we can get better. I thought that once again, it's just 2 weeks in a row now, our defense was pretty stout at times, difficult to move the ball against. But in that performance, there was also obviously a couple of breakdowns also. Offensively, we showed, some flashes of greatness, but, it's kind of those consistent yardage gains that we're missing. We got mired, in the last half of the second quarter in our own end. We got some bad field against the wind. It was the perfect storm, for an opponent being able to take advantage. Fortunately, they didn't. We played some great defense during those moments as well, and it kind of balanced off. So what I'm hoping for is some significant overall team improvement this week, a higher level of sharpness on execution, particularly on offense. You saw that we missed a few opportunities. We also combusted on a couple of others. With each passing week, you hope to leave some of those errors behind and increase the quality of play as we go forward. We still managed to get quite a few players in the ball game. We went to the bullpen a little bit at certain positions, and those young players performed quite favorably. We had 9 freshmen in the lineup last week, and I think that they performed well. So there was lots to be pleased about, but believe me, I think myself, the coaches, and the players are quite realistic about the caliber of the performance, and we expect to be better this week.
Pat?
Pat, having watched the Toronto Laurier film, is Laurier that much better or much worse this year? Is Toronto that much better?
I think, in all fairness to both clubs, I thought that Toronto played very well at home. They have, if anybody who's followed Toronto over the last year and a half or so, they've been tough at home. They've played well at home, and they put together, a good game plan. They executed it well, and I thought that they played real tough. Laurier, I thought that may not have brought their best effort to the ball game. There was some sloppiness, a few missed tackles, and I'm not sort of saying anything that they wouldn't say themselves. I don't believe that Laurier came up with their A game in Toronto, and Toronto played very well. Laurier was subpar, and that led to the results that occurred. I thought that, but full marks to Toronto. They played well. We anticipate Laurier coming back with some passion this week. Nobody wants to go 0-2 in the league. So they'll be fired up. We suspect we're coming into a hostile environment. There should be a huge, opening day crowd there at Wilfrid Laurier University, and a lot of people. Not as many cheering for Queens as we might like, but I think the teams that are mentally hard, there's some enjoyment you take by going into an environment like that when everybody's calling you names and cheering against you. You still got to go out and play. You got to be mentally tough, and that's all part of the training. So this will be a great experience for our guys.
You mentioned just improving overall. Specifically, are there areas that, again, as week 2 gets ever closer, you would like to be better at?
Well, if I compare 2012 already to the first couple of weeks of 2011, we're already doing some things in the first couple of weeks of the season that we didn't do particularly well last year, and that was that we were able to connect on a few verticals. So there's been a couple of nice long passes. Not every one. There's been some missed. We've all seen those. But we did manage to connect on a couple of verticals in both the McGill game and the New York game. We did not do that in either of our first 2 games last year. The other thing, too, with the offensive line having played, have a full year under their belt playing together, we're able to run the ball much better in the first couple of weeks of the season compared to 2011. I think that I don't believe that Ryan Granberg hit the 100-yard mark in either one of those first 2 games last year. And having the confidence to be able to run the ball, work the schemes a little bit, mix things up, use of play-action pass, just sort of use the balance on offense that we've got. It is an asset for our team. I'm still, waiting for the day we can go out there and put, a number of multiple play drives together that will keep the defense, fresh, rested, so that when they go out there and do their thing, they're able to do that without having leans on their, physicality being taken because we've gone 2 and out, 2 and out. So the hope is to be able to go out there and play more consistently on offense, use the running game, a short intermediate pass, and then be selective about our shots up the field. And when you do go up the field, to make sure you hit a couple so you can back people off and take full advantage when they're in a compromised coverage scheme. So we did that a couple of times, but we also missed some opportunities to do that as well. So those kinds of things are also typical of what happens early in the year on offense.
What's the injury situation looking like, particularly in regards to Crimson and Sheahan?
Well, they're improving.
Will they play?
I'm not sure if everybody's going to play. I think the guys are going to try it tonight and see how it is, but looks favorable.
How would you characterize Laurier's attack?
Well, they've transitioned at quarterback and receiver, so there's, there are some big name players gone. They graduated the first team quarterback there last year. Also, the Chambers, Shemad Chambers is gone. I mean, he's a program maker receiver. Mark Soria, one of our guys who did his final 2 years there at Laurier, he was very productive last year. He's graduated. Dylan Heap, who was a very effective multi-use player as a receiver and as a returner, he's graduated as well. So they've had several big play guys lost off their offense, and they've got a new quarterback who is touted to be very, very talented, but he is young. I think he's, the book on him is that I believe he did his some high school training in Buffalo. He's a Canadian kid, but played his senior year at Canisius in Buffalo, and then did a year at a small college, Furman, in the U.S. There's when that happens, there's always a transition back to the Canadian game, multiple coverages, multiple movement. He looked like he was trying to get his feet underneath him. Yeah, when he did plant his feet and let it go, he's got a quality arm. I mean, he can throw it. Big guy, he's about 6'2", 220. He took off and ran. I don't know what his rushing yards were, but I would say probably 40 or 50 yards, and capable of more likely, so he can take off. So you can see that Laurier is one of those teams over the years that has given us our fair share of troubles. Okay, they're athletic, they play well against us. So I think over the last 12 years, I think we're about even. Maybe we have a 1-game advantage or we're 1 game behind, but we're about 50-50 against that team over the last 12 years. They give us our fair share of troubles, and they have over the years. So, regardless of what the scouting report says, my expectation is that it'll be a close game.
Thanks, Ben.
Coach, you worry about looking past? Or again, because you guys are fairly veteran, they'll look after that?
Well, part of the drill is to get mentally tough, and looking past would be a tragic error. All right, we've got a formidable opponent here. We got to go out and take care of our business. We're on the road. The change in venue and the change in schedule, you don't know how those things are going to impact the game. We've got an 8 o'clock game. Our kids are very much accustomed to the routine of college sports, and that is you play football on Saturday afternoon. Day 1, you get a certain number of things done. Day 2, day 3, day 4. You get your walkthrough, you travel, you go play, kick off at 1:07. This is a game where we're kicking off at 8:10. So there's another variable that we're going to have to manage. Who that impacts more, us or them, remains to be seen. Teams that tend to be mentally tougher, more experienced, deal with these changes a little bit better. But at our level of sport, where we're not accustomed to breaches in the schedule like this, it can have an impact. So we'll be doing our best to sort of stay focused, manage the psychology of the whole thing, make sure the kids are well hydrated. Your meal schedule when you're traveling, all of these things have an impact on your final performance. So we've got a few things to manage on this trip, you know, to come away with the 2 points on the road.
Coach, why don't you tell us about the players you brought with you today?
Two very good football players here today. Andrew Lou, second-team All-Canadian defensive back last year. His progress as a football player has been quite marvelous, actually. He was heavily recruited from Brother Andre Catholic Secondary in Markham. He's done a great job, providing great leadership for our defense. He is stellar boundary corner, probably could play any one of the 5 spots in the defensive secondary. Built more like that hybrid linebacker player that you know, is characterized in the CFL game today. He's about 210 pounds. He's a big DB. You know, he can line up against big guys like Sheahan, Chambers, like players like that, but can also, and he can also give smaller players a very difficult time. He's a very good jam guy and a good special teamer as well. Matt Kendrick has had, you know, he had a terrific junior year. He got hurt as a sophomore. You know, spent most of his second year in therapy, and I mean that, you know, with only the kindest of intentions. Jumped into right tackle to fill a spot last year, and then built a home for himself at that position. As far as offensive linemen go, Matt is a terrific athlete, very quick feet. You know, plays bigger than he is. You know, goes just under 270, which by and large is probably a little bit smaller for a tackle than you might want to see. But he plays bigger, got great feet, got a good head for the game. Every day out, Matt learns more about his position and done a great job. You'll see him pulling those tackle traps. He comes across with some ferocity there. I mean, don't think that defensive line players don't see him coming on tape when he comes flying across there, you know, to deliver a blow on the trap. Does a good job. His pass pro is good. Just has been a great addition, and his career is unfolding nicely. So, the two great guys, smart guys, good football players. Football is important to both these guys. Matt hails from Montreal, went to Sullivan House School, and then on to Phillips Exeter, which is another outstanding academic institution with a sound athletics program as well. So we're happy to have both of them. They're quality players, and they're providing great leadership at their position.
Thanks, Coach.